Reading from my own on my phone.
Oh, you're using your phone? Your laptop doesn't work, or you didn't bring a laptop?
No, I didn't bring it. I've just got an iPad. I've got an iPad and a phone.
Okay. Well,
We'll see, but it might.
well, let me just make a brief message here. Hello out there, whoever might be watching this video. We're going to be looking at Canto 1 of the Inferno again today. And we're going to start by reading the whole thing all the way through. And we will cover some of the same material that we covered in the last week in our reading and discussion. So with that said, let me go to the page. All right. I'm reading the Henry Wadsworth Longfellow version. Midway upon the journey of our life, I found myself within a forest dark, where the straightforward pathway had been lost.
Oh, God.
Ah, me, how hard a thing it is to say. What this forest savage, rough and stern, which in the very thought renews the fear. So bitter is it, death is little more. But of the good to treat, which there I find, speak will I of the other things I saw there. I cannot well repeat how there I entered. So full was I of slumber at the moment in which I had abandoned the true way. But after I had reached a mountain's foot, at that point where the valley terminated, which had with consternation pierced my heart, upward I looked and beheld its shoulders, vested already with that planet's rays which leadeth other right by every road. Then was the fear a little quieted, that in my heart's lake had endured throughout the night which I had passed so piteously. Next, please.
And even as he, with distressful breath, forth issued from the sea upon the shore, turns to the water, perilous, and gazes, so did my soul, that still was fleeing onward, turn itself back to re-behold the pass, which never yet a living person left. After my weary body I had rested, the way resumed, I on the deepest slope, the way resumed I on the desert slope, so that the firm foot was ever the lower. And lo, almost where the ascent began, a panther, light and swift exceedingly, which was with a spotted skin covered o'er, and never moved she from before my face, nay, rather did impede me so much my way, that many times to return I had turned. The time was the beginning of the morning, and up the sun was mounting with those stars that with him were. What time the love divine at first in motion set those beauteous things. So were to me occasion of good hope the variegated skin of that wild beast, the hour of time, and the delicious season, but not so much that it did not give me fear, a lion's aspect which appeared to me. He seemed as if against me he were coming with head uplifted and with ravenous hunger, so that it seemed the air was afraid of him. And as a she-wolf, that with all hungering seemed to be laden in her meagerness, and many folk has cause to live forlorn. She brought upon me so much heaviness with the affright that from her aspect came that I hope relinquished of the height. Next.
And as he who is, who willingly acquires, and the time comes that causes him to lose, who weeps in all his thoughts and is despondent. Even such made me that beast without in peace, which coming on against me by degrees, thrust me back thither where the sun is silent. While I was rushing downwards to the lowland, before mine eyes did one present himself, who seemed from long continued silence hoarse. When I beheld him in the desert vast, have pity on me, unto him I cried, whichever thou art, or shade or real man. He answered me, not man, man once I was, and both my parents were of Lombardy, and Mantuans by country both of them. Sub Julio was I born, though it was late, and lived at Rome under the good Augustus, during the time of false and lying gods. A poet was I, and I sang that just son of Anchises, who came forth from Troy, after that Ilion the superb was burned. But thou, why goest thou back to such annoyance? Why climbest thou not the mount delectable, which is the source and cause of every joy? Now art thou that Virgilius, and that fountain, which spread abroad so wide a river of speech. I made response to him with bashful forehead. O of the divine poet's honour and light, avail me the long study and great love that have impelled me to explore thy volume. Thou art my master and my author thou. Thou art alone the one from whom I took the beautiful style that has done honour to me. Behold the beast, for which I have turned back. Do thou protect me from her, famous sage, for she thou'lt make my veins and pulses tremble. Next, please.
Seeing my eyes, he answered, there is another road, and if you intend to quit this wilderness, you're bound to take that beast. You cry out at every sight, let no one through who passes on her way. She blocks their progress, and there they all die. She, by her nature, is cruel, so vicious, she never can sate her voracious will, but feasting well is hungrier than before. She couples a mate to many a creature, and wills so with more, till at last there comes the hunting hound that deals her death and pain. He will not feed on dross or cash or guilt, but thrive on wisdom, virtue, and pure love. Born he shall be between the veldt and veld. To all the shores where Italy bows down, here chaste Camilla died of wounds. Turnus, Erulus, and Nisus too, he'll bring true health. Hunting that animal from every town, at last he'll chase her back once more to hell, from which invidia has set her loose. Next.
Therefore I think and judge it for thy best. Thou follow me, and I will be thy guide, and lead thee hence through the eternal place, where thou shalt hear the desperate lamentations, shall see the ancient spirits disconsolate, who cry out each one for the second death. And thou shalt see those who contented are within the fire, because they hope to come whene'er it may be to the blessed people. Next, please.
To whom then, if thou wishes to ascend, a soul shall be for that, then I more worthy. With her at my departure, I will leave thee. Because the emperor who reigns above, in that I was rebellious to his law, wills that through me none come into his city. Next.
He governs everywhere, and there he reigns. There reigns his city and his lofty throne. Oh, happy he whom thereto he elects. And I to him, poet, I thee entreat by the same God whom thou didst never know, so that I may escape this woe and worse. Okay, Sylvia.
Now lead me
Line.
on.
Yep.
Now lead me on to where you've spoken of, and find the gate where now St. Peter stands. And all those souls that you say are so sad, he made to move, and I came close behind.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So I'll read a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and we'll just kind of go over these early verses again.
Okay.
And I'll read a little bit and then stop. I'm basically going to read the first 9 lines. Midway upon the journey of our life, I found myself within a forest dark, for the straightforward pathway had been lost. Ah me, how hard a thing it is to say. What was this forest savage, rough and stern, which in the very thought renews the fear? So bitter is it, dark as death is little more. But of the good to treat which there I find, speak will I of the other things I saw there. All right. So
It gives us a good explanation. If you were reading it for the first time, it explains what's going on.
Yeah,
He's
this
in
whole canto is kind of a sum
introduction.
the whole thing
Mm.
of how he got started and what's going to happen in the other cantos of the whole poem. So we got midway upon the journey of our life. So I think the use of our is important because he's not, although he's focusing on himself, he thinks the reader is also involved.
Maybe it's because you did it last week, but is this kind of like a midlife crisis? No?
Yes. It's, except that I don't think it's necessarily has to happen. It's just that Dante had, as he will say, he lost his way.
Mm.
So I found myself within a forest dark, for the straightforward pathway had been lost. So yeah, it's kind of an existential crisis.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? I had such dreams. And now I'm totally confused and I don't even know what the hell's going on.
And also the straightforward pathway is a pathway without sin, without sinning. So I think he's asserting that he himself had been guilty of some of the deadly sins.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah.
And going through the savage forest was kind of like purgatory, where you purge your sins.
Well, I think purgatory without the hope of being saved.
Yeah, but he didn't know at this point, I don't think, whether he was going to be saved, maybe.
I think you're correct. Yeah, that's why it was so bitter.
Mm. And it's like, it's the next two lines. It's like, I'm not going to bring up the good. I'm just going to speak of other things than the good. Does that make sense?
I actually interpreted it the other way myself. Does the good to treat which there I find, speak will I of the other. Huh. Actually, that's very ambiguous.
It's yeah. The and your translation is different. The third verse, the what can you just read that third verse, your translation?
That's you, Sylvia.
Oh, it's me. Oh,
Yeah.
so bitter that thought that death is hardly more so. But since my theme will be the good I found there, I mean to speak of other things I saw. Oh.
So it is kind of ambiguous.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
translation too.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
maybe both. Maybe it means to speak of both.
Well, we'll find out. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, that's what the rest of the poem is all about, to
Right.
find out what he's going to speak about.
Yeah, it
So,
makes more sense that it would be both.
so bitter it is.
Oh, yeah, because maybe I'm jumping ahead, but he says immediately after, I do not know, I cannot rightly say how I first came to be here, so full of sleep that moment, abandoning the true way on. So I mean, so he doesn't know why he's there. Am I right?
Yes, he's completely confused.
He doesn't know why he's there because he's relating to us what he's saying happened. So he initially was in a really bad place, which he compares to being in a forest which was dark and frightening and meeting animals. But then as we go through the journey with him, he will discover. So he's just, I think there he's just explaining to us how he felt at the time.
Yeah, it's like a crisis, a midlife crisis of suddenly you don't know if you're on the right
Yeah.
path.
But he has
you
to
know
say
that
it so that we understand where he was coming from.
Yeah.
Right. But let me also point out here that and I think Wordsworth is doing it pretty good. So please notice I'm going to go back to the beginning. The first three lines he's using the past tense.
Okay.
Midway upon the journey of our life, I found myself. in a forest arc for the straightforward pathway had been lost. Now, and look what happens in line 4. Ah, me, how hard a thing it is to say. So he goes from past tense to present tense.
Mm.
And then he goes
The present tense is while he's telling the story.
yes. Yeah, and this is going to be something that happens throughout the poem, where sometimes he's addressing us in the present tense, meaning Dante the poet talking, as opposed to Dante the pilgrim.
In his story.
Who's in the story, yeah. What was past tense, this forest savage, rough and stern, which in the very thought renews the fear.
Mm.
So look at that. So we got past tense, what was, and then we got renews the fear. So once again, he's doing that play of the tenses.
Yeah, he's doing it again in 8 and 9. He talks about, but of the good to treat, which there I found, past tense. Speak will I of the other things I saw, past tense. There.
So once again, past tense on
So
line 8 and
he's moving.
present tense 9. On 9. So I think this is a quite important little grammatical feature.
Yeah, it may put things into better focus as we keep reading.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So look at look at 10 again. Once again, I cannot well repeat how there I entered. So we got present tense talking about the past. So full was I of slumber in which I had abandoned the true way. So present tense and then 3 past tense. Okay.
Okay.
Next reader, maybe.
That's you, Didi.
Where did you stop, Duncan?
I believe I stopped at 9.
9. Okay. I cannot well repeat how there I entered, so full was I of slumber at the moment in which I had abandoned the true way. So he like suddenly he found himself in this this place that isn't the straightforward pathway of his life. And in a moment, he abandoned it. It's almost like it didn't happen to him, like he did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a reasonable analogy is actually the old, Alcoholics Anonymous thing.
Yeah, when you go,
When
you
you
take
hit the bottom,
another
when
drink.
you hit the bottom and you realize,
Yeah.
oh, I'm an alcoholic. Now.
But after I had reached a mountain's foot, at that point where the valley terminated, which had with consternation pierced my heart, Upward I looked, and I beheld its shoulders, vested already with that planet's rays, which leadeth others right by every road. I love that. That's the awareness of directions that the sun provides guidance for. Then was the fear a little quieted that in my heart's lake had endured throughout the night, which I had passed so piteously.
Mm-hmm.
So next.
Okay. Lego?
Well, before we go, let me
Mhm.
just focus for a second on 19 through 21, because suddenly he's telling us that he had, let's see, going back, I found myself. Yeah. So suddenly in those verses, he's telling us that he had spent the night there
Mhm.
Yeah.
and woke up. So he's telling us it's that he's already been there some time. He just doesn't know how he got there and what's going on.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And even as with stressful breath, forth issued from the sea upon the shore, turns to the water perilous and gazes. So did my soul, that still was fleeing onward, turn itself back to re-behold the past, which never yet a living person left. After my weary, do you want me to stop?
Yeah,
After
let
we,
stop a minute, and that's really,
okay, no problem. Yeah, it
yeah,
is. There's a lot in that. You can see we
that's.
were the stressful bad board issue.
Did you stop?
I was wondering, did you want me to stop?
Yeah,
I thought,
that which never yet a living person left.
left, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm.
But let me mention also, look at 22 through 24.
Mm-hmm.
This is very interesting here, because he's actually talking about a person who almost drowned.
Mm.
In a drowning, because he says, even as he who with distressed breath forth issued upon the sea, forth issued from the sea upon the shore, turns to the water perilous and gazes.
But that's continuing on from 19 to 21. He's describing his, you know, when you're completely lost and you've no idea how you got there and how things went so bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I suppose, that's what he's doing there.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what he's saying.
using a drowning metaphor here.
Mm.
But he's got an interesting thing in mind, going back starting 19 through
Mm-hmm.
10, wash in the lake of my heart.
Hold on just a second.
Yeah.
Or he's continuing that part of, he's in
Yeah.
a lake. Is he looking into his heart?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So he's passed through the veil or something, whatever it is. Or has he?
What you mean? He's passed through the veil.
No, that reference to marvel at that strait that let no living soul pass through till now. So is he aware? He's already gone through something.
Okay, yeah. So he's looking back, even though he's going forward.
Hmm. It was like a nervous breakdown.
Mm. Ah, do you know why? Because he's trying to climb up the mountain. And nobody, as we'll find out when he meets Virgil, nobody can climb up that mountain without first going through Inferno and Purgatorio and everything.
Yeah.
So did my soul, that was the turn yourself back to re-behold the past, which never yet a living person left. So he's not, because then 28 to 30, after my weary body I'd rested, the way resumed, and I on the desert slopes, that the firm foot ever was the Lord, because he's climbing up.
Oh,
And
right.
then he will meet to the ground, and they are things which will all send him back. I'm guessing that's probably what he's talking about, because nobody can do that. You can't just go straight up and be saved. You have to go through the different things like Inferno. What do you think? Is that a possibility? Does he say nobody has achieved it, so you can't achieve it unless you understand sin and you purgate your sins and then get ready to go into paradise?
This makes me think about Christ dying and being and then coming back to life. And not being steeped in that details of that story.
I don't know.
Hmm.
You're muted, Duncan.
Am I the only one who that kind of?
No.
I don't get that, but it's interesting.
Yeah, because that means a living person had left and then returned.
But he's using till now.
Never yet.
A living person has left. So nobody can achieve that unless you go the right way, the good way.
So that's very meaningful, and I don't know what the meaning is, because he knew that.
Okay, so which line are we looking at here? Are we looking at 25 through?
We're looking at everything really from 22 to 30.
Yeah.
Okay, so even
27.
to 27, turn back. Oh, so did my soul that still was fleeing onward, so he's still in a panic.
Mm-hmm.
He's still in a panic. He's almost drowned or had the feeling of drowning, and he's looking at what he thought was going to cause his death. So he's still, his heart is beating fast, and he's panicking. But it turns back, my soul turns itself back to behold the past, which never yet a living person left.
And this is where we're stuck, and we have two possibilities. We have Anne's possibility of the mountain, and you have to go through a process of.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do
that.
You can't go
The
straight
mountain pass.
And then Dee Dee had the Christ and the death and resurrection. Am I right, Dee Dee?
Yeah.
No.
Right. I was thinking about that.
So I've got we've got these two possibilities, but we're still,
I got a
we're
third one. I have
we're
a
about.
third.
We've
I
got
have a
these.
third one.
You have a third one.
These possible hypotheses or whatever.
What's your one, Duncan?
Okay, so my interpretation is okay. So we had he has this feeling. He's breathing hard. His breathing is really freaked out, and he's looking at how close he came to death. And so did my soul, which was still fleeing onward, which I interpret as feelings of he's having a panic attack. He's still having a panic attack. Turn back to behold, re-behold the past, which never a living person left. So it's almost like a what do they call it? A death experience. What do they call it? A near-death experience.
Yeah.
So
But-
he's really understanding that, like, oh my God,
But I just think we've got this whole like whirlpool of notions here in the room, of nervous breakdown, midlife crisis, just a whole, we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, near death. Maybe he was sick and close to death before he wrote this. I have a biography I have to go get. I thought it was in this room, but I have to get.
Well, Sylvia, I think he's trying to put us in the same state that he was in, frankly.
Oh yeah, I agree.
That by doing this, by making it ambiguous, and we're going, what's going on here? What's going on here? That he's trying to put us in a deeply questioning state of mind.
I suppose he's trying to show us, because he'd lost his way and he needed to find God or whatever again. He's trying to explain how he felt. So he thought that he would be able to go up here, and then there was the sun behind the mountain, that would be God, and he would be saved. But that's not how it works. You have to understand why you're in the place you were, and that's why he had to go through Inferno to understand about sin. And then he had to go through Purgatorio to understand how you purgate your sins and understand it. And he got all the P's off his forehead, the Canto or whatever they were called. And then you're ready. I think that's all he's doing. I think he's setting the scene.
Oh,
He
yeah.
thought that he would be able to go up, but that's not how it works. Because he is climbing, because he said so that the firm foot in line 30 ever was the lower, which is when you're climbing, that your lower foot is the one that has the grip, and your higher foot is the one that's looking for.
So yeah, well spotted.
So he is climbing. So he is climbing.
Yes.
But we find out then, because he meets Virgil, that that's not how it works. And obviously he had to meet the Panther and Lion and the She-Wolf and all of that.
And it reminds me, I vaguely remember, they symbolize, what do they symbolize, or who do they symbolize?
I can't remember.
Oh, I have them somewhere.
I have them at home.
It's in
Next week.
We're all displaced.
We're all, exactly, yeah. I have them all written down at home.
I'm pretty sure I put it in the Sayers, what they symbolize.
Oh, Sayers, yeah.
So the leopard and the lion, and what's the third one?
The wolf.
The She-Wolf. She-Wolf.
Yeah.
The
She's a she.
She. Opposite
Okay.
we always cause has.
Okay.
Oh
Well, we
dear,
just,
I've got the wrong.
I'm looking here to see can I find
Yeah.
it.
yeah. In line 31, he's optimistic. He's just gonna, okay, fine. So I'm lost. Well, there's the sun. Okay, I'm going that way.
Hmm.
And all of
He
a sudden
finds that he can't.
we find that he can't. There's a leopard, light and swift exceedingly, which with a
Hmm.
spotted skin was covered o'er. Never move she from before my face. So there's something
Hmm.
that's terrifying him and is keeping him from going.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, at least we got that part of the symbol down. The panther is just going to is just in his way and causing him fear.
I thought I wrote that down. I wrote it somewhere, but not handy.
I have it in my notes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's see if Longfellow says.
Yeah.
So where 31, the leopard appears, Dee Dee.
Oh, what did you say?
I said 31, the leopard appears. Well,
Yeah, I'm looking in the um let's see, it's from Jeremiah.
Hmm.
Doesn't say what they symbolize though.
Hmm.
A lion shall slay them. A lion out of the forest shall slay them. A wolf in the evening shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over their cities. Everyone that goeth out thence shall be torn to pieces. But that was, they had actual the different animals had different identities,
They did,
mm,
yeah.
characteristics, but I don't know where it is.
Mhm. It says here,
Hmm.
for them, okay, earliest commentators were strikingly in accord. For them to be signify 3 of the 7 mortal sins:
Uh-huh.
lust, pride, and avarice. So I'm going to take them in order and say that the leopard somehow, I know that the wolf is avarice, and I'm
And
pretty
the
sure
lion probably
the lion
pride.
pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that leaves lust.
which is probably the she-wolf.
No, the panther.
Okay, then there's a second set, which says that
Yeah.
the leopard is envy, the lion is pride, and the wolf is avarice.
Ha. Yeah, okay.
And then, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So I think for the moment we just kind of have to put it in the category that the panther.
Hmm.
I mean, first of all, panthers are camouflaged.
Broad.
And second of all, we have this: never move she from before my face. Nay,
Yeah.
rather did impede so much my way that many times
Return.
I to return had turned.
Yeah.
And I have here fraud, so that would make the kind of sense that
Fraud?
kind of confusing him,
Mhm.
terrifying him.
Okay, carry on. I need to get up for a couple of minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay.
That is
Yeah. Be the first thing I'll be looking for when I go home.
yeah. And I know you have
Mm.
that everything in it.
So annoying. So hard to bring books, isn't it, when you travel?
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
can't.
Go look at let's see what line this is. I have trouble with the numbers of the line. It's about 30 or so, maybe 31. This is about the panther.
Are you called the
Oh, yeah.
panther?
Line 32, Judy.
Yeah,
Panther light and swift exceedingly, is it?
yeah. Longfellow calls it a panther.
Yeah. And mine it's a leopard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that leopard has spots, but it Duncan checked it last time and said panther also has spots.
Can have spots, yeah.
Yeah. So that the idea of fraud never moved she from before my face, rather did impede me. So the fraud would do that. You would be confused. You would think. It reminds me of an experience my son had. He tried to arrange a car being moved from Arizona to Ithaca, New York, and he checked all the ways to check and found a company that would do it. And he paid them, and they never showed up. And then he went back and discovered, all these checking. They apparently had misled Forbes magazine, because Forbes magazine was endorsing them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
kind of fraud. You're looking, but you're you're stuck. You're impeded. They had to start over. I don't know. There was a great battle, but I think it's over. I'm hoping. So the panther or leopard or leopard is fraud, I think. Duncan.
Yeah, I can hear you. Mm-hmm.
And that's the worst of the deadly sins as we go down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least in my mind, the lion and the wolf are fairly clear. The lion is just prideful and brutish. And the wolf is just greedy.
Hungry, yeah.
So that would tie up with avarice, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say that what Dante is telling us indirectly, and this is just pulling stuff out of my head here, is that for some reason these are his problems.
Okay.
That I mean, because he could have picked other, if these are 3 of the 7 deadly sins, he could have, the other 4. Be interesting to look at what the deadly sins are. And just say, because all of us, we have certain weaknesses or dispositions, as it were.
Gina, we had to learn those by rote. Of course, now I don't remember them because it was such a ghastly experience at school. Learning all those things.
This note is from Jeremiah. Okay. A leopard shall watch over their cities. Everyone that goeth out then shall be torn to pieces. So this is fraud, defrauding my son when he tried to take the car out of Phoenix.
Mm.
It's that force of deception that you can't escape from. I think it's fraud.
Well, you know, he puts fraud is at the lowest part of the Inferno.
Right. The misleading,
Mhm.
the having a grip on the people of society. It's interesting because there's a book called Democracy in Chains, and it's kind of on that topic of how the leopard, those in control, have a grip on everything. Very discouraging to read.
Through deceit, one might add.
What?
Through deceit.
Yeah, through deceit.
So for example, in today's news, one of the items was how the FDA, two of the people in charge of approving the Moderna vaccine, now work for Moderna.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you know the golden parachute idea, right?
Yeah.
That regulators, one way to capture regulators is by giving the idea that if they'll be nice, that you might offer them a really good job after they leave the government.
Right. They cooperate.
Which is a type of fraud.
Yeah, it is fraud.
So
they belong in the lowest category of Inferno, the lowest level.
I think so. I mean,
And it's the lowest the lowest ring or whatever it is. Is that the worst place to be?
The lowest circle.
It's right near the devil's anus.
So it's not the first one, Sylvia. It would be the final area where he was.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So that would be the lowest because it's going down. And then Bogdari's going up.
Yeah.
So when we go to Inferno, we're going down. And they're getting worse and worse and worse as we go.
Yes.
Right. Because we have that visual of the Inferno. Dante, you got that somewhere?
I do have
Yeah, I can get it. Hold on, I think
we're not there yet.
I can get digital Dante. Intertextual, here's images. Do I have it?
God, I think I must have been asleep. I'm rising out of a slumber, going into this.
Having a Dantean experience.
Chunks of it. We didn't look at it like this.
No, we didn't. The first two times at the start, we just read.
We gobbled it up.
Yes. This is, to tell you the truth.
It was almost like a race.
We read it the first time like La Lupa, the shoe embodiment of negative desire, thinking that, if we read it really quick, that we would digest it somehow. And I think
I thought it was then we'd go back and understand it better, which I think is what's happening.
I think that's what we've decided that we're doing during the second reading, that's
a good learning experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
you do need to read it slowly.
Realize that we did kind of sleepwalk through the first time.
Oh, so much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Didi, are you doing some technical thing there?
Oh, this is a remote speaker. And when I
Alright.
have trouble hearing somebody, I bring it to my ear. It really is good.
Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And sometimes something happens to sound across the miles and the lines, the whatever it is, the non-lines, and sound gets kind of staticky. And this helps me. I move it a little, and it helps take the static away and make it clearer again.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's good.
So anyway, we know he's being impeded, and we think it might that the leopard might represent fraud. And we do know that Dante, even when we get to Paradiso, he's still complaining about fraud, particularly the fraudulent hopes, etc.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
almost all the way up to the Imperium.
right.
So it's
Yeah,
a big deal to him.
you caught that section where Saint Peter is saying to God, "Why don't you stop them?" Because of the church officials, clergy, popes are doing that to people, defrauding them.
And we see that all the time
Yeah.
here in the States. I mean, I don't know if you have these types of preachers
Oh,
but
Oh God, they're everywhere.
oh yeah, they people contribute, and the preachers have mansions. The preachers get wealthy, and what their spiritual credentials are. It's fraud.
Mm.
it is a fraud, and they're kind of promising people an easy path.
Oh, they make it sound like you're in heaven, you'll stay in heaven, and give me money.
So let's go on a little bit further.
Okay.
It is almost 2:15 now, and I think we've established that for whatever the panther is, one, it's blocking his path.
Mm.
Two, it represents a type of sin which he's very concerned about, which I think might be the fraud thing. Because of course panthers, the black panther, goes at night, and you can't see it, and then the spotted panther blends in. So
I just noticed there in line 34 that the panther is also female.
Is
Never
it?
moved she. Yeah, never moved she from before my face.
And I think going all the way through,
We've been blamed for everything.
yeah, Dante is doubting himself.
Yeah.
Am I on the right path, or am I misleading my readers? Till the almost at the very end, when he decides what he's done is good and not sinful. Am I too what's the right word? Too like representing what God wants? Am I able to do that? Can I really do that? Is it right for me to try? That seems to be going that goes through the whole comments like that about the struggle to write and whether he's good or not, which I think is a really interesting part of the poetry.
I think that's why he uses figures like Virgil and Statius and Beatrice.
Mm.
And then in Paradiso, he starts using the saints as a way to assure him that what he's doing is appropriate.
And then Caccia Guida about how Florence was once untainted, was once a virtuous community.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do we come to a stopping point to start at next week?
The term as well.
So, so are we saying these three animals are sort of representing sin of some form?
Yeah.
Some of
Mhm.
the sins.
Mhm.
And
Sin,
so
obstacle,
as to
And that's in Jeremiah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
we know
those are-
fraud and avaricious. There are two of them.
Yeah,
yeah.
fraud,
So
avarice, and
and does that mean that we can then move on to where he then, I mean, he must be in a state of total distress, because it's talking about, I don't know, 58, 59. And it drove him back down to where the sun is mute. So where it's dark is mute, the sun being mute, dark. Sorry, I've just
yeah,
jumped off.
yeah. The panther is blocking his way, and so he retreats.
Mm,
But
Oh, right.
I think this is relevant. Remember, Dante has just been sent into exile.
yeah. And what was that for?
Political
Oh,
crimes.
it's a trumped up thing.
it was
Yeah.
about
It was
his
because of
attitude
the
toward the Pope.
Ghibellines and the whelps, yeah.
What? Sorry.
It was about what the Pope was doing and his disapproval. The Pope wanted political power as well as spiritual power, and Dante was opposing that. I think that's what. I mean, at that point, he was working for the church, and they sent him. I think it was to Rome for as a delegate for some reason, and then they wouldn't let him back. And
Because the
at that
Ghibellines
point,
and the whelps were constantly fighting.
Well, the Guelphs and the
And
Gibletines
the
or whatever.
Ghibellines, Ghillibenes, I think.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I'm just wondering if he's. I mean, does he think he's right, or does he think he's a sinner, or I'm just wondering how he sees his um position in it. I don't know. I don't know if that's relevant.
No, it's a good question, Sylvia. It really is a good question, and I think that it's almost inevitable that anyone who is sent into exile is going to have doubts about themselves.
Yeah. I think,
Well,
that he's at his lowest, and he's probably questioning what he's done since he went into politics in the last few years. He's also probably questioning, did he see things correctly? Was he blinded?
Mm, mm, mm.
And then he talks about now he's going to have to. Was there something about the eating the bread from other people's stairs, or climbing the stairs and eating the bread, because he would never have his own home back again.
Mm.
And he's talking about that right up to the end.
Yes, he is. Right. He's hoping to get back to Florence, and of course, he
Yeah.
doesn't. He doesn't. All he's really promised is that in time that his reputation will be restored, but you know, it's not in his lifetime.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
and you know, it is hard to go against political power and public opinion. It's just really hard. You know, it's a very rare person that feels confident all the way.
Mm.
And you know, it's kind of like, why me? What did I do?
And I
Okay.
suppose, yeah, because the ones he picks is fraud. So obviously, the the allegations against him were all trumped up, which is obviously fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. By people who were avaricious, because there was greed, an awful lot of greed, their influence for power, for money, for domination. So that would be probably why he would have had that one. And I still haven't figured out what the third one is, but we will for next week. And that's probably the three that he feels were so relevant in excommunicating him from Florence. The possibility.
Mm. No, Anne, really, really helpful. So we've got what's the one? The wolf. What's the one in the middle?
Yeah, that's the one we have to figure out.
The lion.
Fraud, lust,
lion.
and avarice.
Lion, but the lion, you know, lion's pride and power and
Oh,
power.
pride, right.
Oh, maybe pride, yeah,
Lust, fraud,
exactly.
pride, and
and
avarice.
violence.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Those, so that's sort of the essence
You can
of what
understand it, yeah.
I deal with.
Okay. Well, I know that
I've been there. Yeah. Okay, that's been very helpful, you know.
Yeah, gives you something to think about.
I feel like I've really read this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we will meet again and next week.
Okay, and Duncan,
Yes.
tomorrow are you opening the line for Ulysses?
You mean tomorrow?
Yeah, because it's Thanksgiving for you.
Yes. Well, I will at least start the meeting.
Right.
I will probably be at the meeting, but I can't absolutely guarantee that. But I definitely
I'm
can
gonna go.
start it.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, because happy thanks. Oh, she's gone. Didn't even say happy Thanksgiving. She's gone.
Okay. Anyway, I'm looking at a note from Longfellow about these animals.
Oh, are you?
It's on the Dartmouth site in the commentary. And so I think I'll probably spend at least a little bit of time looking at what Longfellow is saying about them. But I think we've made good progress.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I look forward to gathering together again next week.
Yeah.
For you Ulysses readers, hopefully I can join you tomorrow in the reading.
Yeah. I should be able to. What about you? And you've got a good color.
No, I haven't. I'm roasting. It was cold when I sat down first, so I decided to wrap myself. So obviously it wasn't a good idea because I'm now absolutely roasting. Going to have to open the door.
Anyway, so see, hopefully
Oh, well,
we'll see each other tomorrow.
absolutely. Are you having good weather, yeah? Sylvia,
Sorry?
are you having good weather in Florence?
Yeah, it's been better. This half of it. The first half was raining. And one of my
okay.
friends, lost everything in the flood. I haven't seen her.
Oh, wow.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and she lost her car, everything.
Wow.
Oh,
She
that's
couldn't even,
awful.
yeah,
Hmm.
just outside Florence. So,
Oh gosh.
uh,
Oh, that's
anyway,
awful.
Okay, be
yeah,
safe.
Okay, Duke.
See you
yeah,
tomorrow. Thank you
See you
yeah.
very
tomorrow.
much.